Said you wanna talk in the living room. I'ma take this ride. To get away from you is like the soundtrack on repeat. No matter what, you never get what you need.
Monday was my very first day on the job as a registered nurse.
Isn't good enough according to you. I'm still messing up.
Today's the day, folks. It's my very first day on the job as a registered nurse. So I'm super excited to take y'all along and show you as much as I can of my day. So I've been promising y'all a job update for quite a while, and today's gonna be the day while I'm driving to work where I'm just gonna update y'all and let you know kind of what went on, what happened, where life is taking me. I am working on a labor and delivery unit as technically, I guess, the newborn nurse. And originally I was going to do a labor and delivery residency program that was in a small community hospital. So I wish I could go in more depth of kind of the living situation and all that, but basically I ended up going to my sister's house during NCLEX studying, mainly for like me and my safety. And I was originally anticipating on having to drive all the way out to the little small local community hospital that I originally got the job at. And that commute is about an hour and a half. So I started trying to look for apartments in that area. Well, that area is a very heavily populated retirement community. I wasn't able to find a community that would accept me as a healthcare professional. I needed to have either somebody who was 40 years plus who had like a disability, and there were like so many rules and regulations. There were 2 apartment complexes that I was able to find, but the wait lists were more than a year to 3 years long. So when I started looking for housing, I wasn't able to find a house that I could rent that was in my budget. A lot of these houses were like 15, 16, 1700 plus, and I just didn't have that kind of income when it came to figuring out how I was gonna survive. Originally, I unfortunately was gonna have to drive that commute, and then I guess figure out from there what my paycheck was gonna look like, budget, and then figure out how I was going to afford renting my own house over there. Well, let me tell you, God is good. I was very stressed about this, and I was studying for NCLEX at the time, so I was very stressed about how I was gonna live, how I was gonna commute, and God came through, and I got a phone call from a teaching hospital, and this teaching hospital is actually where I grew up. It is the best teaching hospital, and I got a phone call to interview. Normally when it comes to this hospital, like, you have to know somebody to get in, so at first I thought it was a joke. It's probably just one of those spam calls because everybody's starting to put the names to phone numbers whenever you get a spam call. I ended up calling back the hospital. I talked to the supervisor that reached out to me, and in that moment, I felt like I was very blessed to have gotten that phone call. This supervisor and I decided to do just a spontaneous interview, see if we liked each other. And in the middle of the interview, she stopped me and said, "Wow, I just want to let you know," and this is not a bad thing. She was like, "I just want to like give you a shout out that like this is the best interview I've had with anyone." And she talked about how she really enjoyed speaking with me, and she felt like I was so vulnerable, I was so open, and little did she know that I was going through so much emotionally at this time. I almost started crying during the interview, and I told her, I was like, "Thank you, you really don't know like how much that means to me." Needless to say, the next day I got a phone call, and I was asked to schedule a group interview with the coworkers I would be working with on night shift. Every single one of those individuals who I spoke to felt like I resonated with, and I don't know, like in that moment, I felt like I needed to take this opportunity. God was presenting me an opportunity that like I couldn't say no to, and I know that if I was still at home with my mom, I would have said no to this position because I was going to be at home, be able to pay off my student loans in 2 years, like sign that 2-year contract and then be done and move to a different hospital. Well, that day when I interviewed with the coworkers who I would be working with, we hung up the Zoom call, and then they got me back on an hour later, and all of them in unison said, "Will you take the job?" And my supervisor was like, "We've never done this before. Like, normally we don't hire new grads on the unit." She was like, "I just want to let you know we're putting a lot of time, energy into you." But she's like, "I feel like you are the perfect fit. She's like, your personality, like, we are looking for somebody like you to like expand on just the positivity of our unit. And I can already tell like all these individuals just by like talking to them and being able to like get to know who they are. Like, I can tell they're all very positive. And I got to meet every single person who I'd be working with, which was phenomenal. No other interview allowed me to meet everybody, and I could really get an idea and a sense of who people were. And yeah, so that is the opportunity that presented itself. So I will be working as a newborn nurse in the labor and delivery unit. Now, I know as time goes on, for example, like my supervisor, I know teaches part-time, and she was able to get training, I believe, in all areas. I kind of talked to her a little bit about that. So that's what I'm hoping for, eventually get trained in different areas, and then really just be able to teach whenever that opportunity comes around. So I'm so excited, and I've been waiting so long to tell y'all. I apologize for this long story. I really wanted to update y'all and let you know. And I know I made the right decision when the other hospital wasn't following through with me starting as a nurse extern. I know I talked to y'all about starting as a nurse extern. Well, that never happened for me. Originally, I was supposed to start as a nurse extern in May, and when the opportunity came around for me to start as a nurse extern, I kept trying to contact the nurse recruiter. I never got an email back. I kept trying to contact a different nurse recruiter who specifically was for my residency program. I never got an email back. When I had questions about the program, the nurse recruiter wasn't calling me back. Whenever I emailed the nurse recruiter, probably to the point where she didn't want to see my name anymore, but I had questions. I know I felt at ease whenever I was not getting a response, realized that there was no communication going on. That kind of scared me, especially being my first job. I need a hospital that is going to be punctual, be able to answer the questions that I have, and I'm not talking about you need to answer my phone call right away. I called this nurse recruiter over 4 times, for sure, over 4 times. I got an email 4 to 5 weeks later, and it was just about like the offer letter and honestly just the pay, who my supervisor was, and the offer letter had the incorrect title on there. My offer letter wasn't even correct, so technically I couldn't even sign it, and that was pretty much all that I had for that hospital. And one day I emailed the individual who didn't actually want to take the position, sorry, and I explained, I was like, hey, I'm no longer living in the area due to some safety concerns, and I've been trying to reach out to you to be able to help me talk about like housing in the area. What could I do to be able to be closer to the hospital? What do I need to do to get prepared for the residency program? And I wasn't getting a response, so it just feels more comfortable for me if I decide to take this other position where I feel a little bit more comfortable with the communication. I don't even know if the nurse recruiter looked at that, because then I got a text a couple weeks later that said, hey, I noticed you haven't scheduled your NCLEX test date. When are you taking it? So I don't know. I just felt like the communication was not there. I did not want to involve myself in that kind of lack of communication, especially as my first job. And the last little note that made me feel like I made the right decision was recently a family member made a trip, unfortunately, to that hospital for some health concerns, and I was told that the nurse that was attending to this person happened to get trained and started on the labor and delivery unit there, and eventually that nurse had to quit because they weren't able to afford the cost of living, because they weren't getting paid, because there was no work. Unfortunately, it is a small hospital that is more so in what you would call like a rural area. The nurses aren't cross-trained in different areas. If you're a labor and delivery nurse, you are just on that unit. So I remember I was told that this nurse, unfortunately, was put on call for 2 weeks in a row, so one paycheck was only like $100 or so. So with my student loans, I am not able to have a paycheck like that, and I know that my job at this hospital is also on call, but it is a little bit bigger of a hospital, so they can work with me if for some reason, I want to work overtime or get cross-trained, like I said. So I don't know, all signs just pointed to this was a better opportunity for me, and I'm so glad I took it. And God definitely was there for me during this time. If it wasn't for him, this wouldn't have been possible, and I'm getting chills right now talking about him. So I just know that this was the right decision, and I'm so excited to let y'all know what my job looks like. Just a quick update, it's 7:30, and I know that was a long job update, but I wanted to give y'all an authentic just real update. Now I know for a fact in my job I'm going to be able to go to labor and deliveries, C-sections, and work with the postpartum nurse, work with the NICU nurse if that's needed. And basically I'm going to be the person doing all the newborn assessments and working with mom when the baby is born. When I learn a little bit more of what the job entails, I will let y'all know. I'm going to go ahead and keep driving to work because I still have a little bit ways to go. And whenever I get there, I will go ahead and update y'all. I'm all parked, y'all. I'm getting ready to go. Wow, it's just hitting me. Oh my God. All right, so I'm gonna walk to the shuttle because this hospital has a parking lot where I have to take the shuttle in. So I'm gonna try to find out where the shuttle picks us up because I have no idea where I'm going. So that's why I got here early. It just turned 8 o'clock. I called the parking office and looked like a silly mess this morning. So I was like, I don't know where I'm going. Can you please tell me? I even tried to look it up. So here we are. My first day is done, officially done. I had my first shift as an RN and let me tell you, it was very anticlimactic. Pretty much just letting y'all know kind of how my day went. When I got there this morning, I was lost. I wasn't even at the right parking lot. Now, mind you not, it has been like a solid year and a half since like I've really been back home, and even then I spent another year outside of this area. So I was in the area where my job was, getting lost, not really knowing these like one-way streets. Yeah, so that's how my morning went. I had to call the parking office because I needed help to figure out where the actual parking lot was because my GPS was taking me to a different location than what the actual map was saying. So I was a little confused, but I made it. I got on the shuttle. I got there on time. I had to check in by 8:30. Then I just listened to a short presentation about the wellness program that they have at my job. And on top of that, I just sat in the sun and waited for a manager from my unit to come and show me the way. Because of the pandemic, all of my training was like remote in the little designated area that they had. So everything was online training. So I was on the computer for 8 hours today, and I ordered blue light glasses that I'm waiting to come in. You know, of all the years I've sat and I stared at a computer screen, I still don't have blue light glasses except for my actual glasses that I wear. And because I wanted to wear contacts because I was wearing a mask all day, and I kind of regretted not wearing my glasses today because I have a little bit of a headache going on, but that's okay. I took some Advil, so hopefully that goes away in a little bit. When 9 o'clock hit, I was basically grouped with everybody who was working in the labor and delivery unit with me, which is crazy. I got to meet some of my coworkers. Every person that was orienting with me was on night shift, so it was nice that I got to meet some people that I'll see from time to time. I am just so excited. I mean, I was excited doing online modules, honestly, but a lot of it was just orientation, letting us know about the hospital, our benefits, and pretty much all that fun administrative stuff you have to get out of the way. Once that was over, we did take a break. The hospital paid for my first lunch there, so I got a sandwich, and that was really yummy. They had like Boar's Head, and they have a Starbucks in our hospital as well as McDonald's, so like name brand stuff going on here, which is crazy. The hospital food was absolutely amazing, like the choices that they have, and it was pretty decently priced. A sandwich was $4, so I thought that was pretty fair, especially for Boar's Head. So after lunch, I went up to the unit and I ate lunch in one of the conference rooms that they have. Overlooks the bay, so beautiful. The whole entire lunch was just staring out the window. After I was mesmerized by the view, I then got a tour of the unit, and wow, this unit is huge. I got to find out exactly where I'm gonna be stationed. Newborn nurse here, really just assisting with labor and deliveries, waiting for my patient to be born so then I can do a full head to toe assessment and a bunch of patient education with the mom. And wow, am I super excited. I am definitely so nervous. I cannot explain to you like how hard it hit me today. When I was on that unit, I was like, wow, I am now the nurse. I am now the person that is going to be taking care of these patients. Like, it is up to me. I do still have to go through training, so there's that whole deal. And of course, I will feel more confident after training, but today it hit me that I am that person that is gonna be doing this. I'm the nurse. It didn't hit me until today, and then I kind of got a little worried because I was like, I feel like I know nothing. And granted, I know it's all on the job trainings. Once the tour was over, I was escorted back to the area where I started to be able to finish some of the online modules that I have, which I'm basically going to be doing on and off all week. I have skills I have to learn, specifically like how to use IV pumps and basically a whole list of things I like cannot remember right now, but I will be doing that tomorrow. There was so much material on these online modules. I did not get to complete one that was assigned to me today, which is all information on being a registered nurse. I wanted to kind of get all the basic background information done first, and then I saved the registered nurse one for this afternoon in case I didn't get to finish it. I can be ready to go in the morning tomorrow. Now that my first day is over, I am gonna drive home. I am hungry. I'm probably gonna make some food. So I will go ahead and update y'all when I get back home. I'm getting ready to call it quits for the night. I ended up not filming cooking, and I just forgot, honestly. I was just so busy with all that I was trying to get organized with for work. So yeah, I'm gonna call it quits, and then I'm gonna continue on filming and just vlogging for y'all, so y'all know kind of how like my first week went, as well as how my first month went as a new grad nurse, and really just how my residency program is going, because this hospital does have a residency program that I'm automatically enrolled into, and I will be with all different specialties. So it's just for all new grads that are starting at the same time as me. So I will let y'all know how that goes and keep y'all updated. I just want to thank you for watching if you've gotten this far, and of course I always just want to wish you luck on your nursing journey.